Hey everyone, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. Nathan Masters here. It is time for our March review. So I have the 11033 Classic parts pack basically. I have actually reviewed the 11011 on the channel a while back. I'll go ahead and link that if you want to go back and take a look. Very similar things that I have to say about this set that I've said before. You're looking at really a set that's oriented to expanding a parts collection and not necessarily something that you would get for the models. Now, there are some models that are suggested that you could build with the parts included. None of them are going to use anywhere close to all the parts in the set. The entire point of the classic theme for LEGO is just a way to get more bricks into a collection. Usually the price per piece is much lower than you will see on the main line themes. So in this case, 1,800 pieces. This set retails for $90. At Walmart it was on sale for $60. So a retail price of 5 cents a piece is half of what you usually see. By the time you get that down to 60, that's a third of a cent per piece. Not quite as good as the rate that I had on the 11011 set, but still very, very decent prices when you're looking at LEGO that is right out of the box, out of the sealed factory package. Price-wise. So, I think I will move through this set a little bit quicker than I did before with the other classic. There are a couple of parts that I want to take a closer look at in particular, but then also just looking at the groups of colors as we go through the inventory here for this classic set. We'll just pan through the sealed bags here before I get into too much detail. Again, we have kind of main color groups. This particular set does have a few other, seems like a wider variety, smaller amounts of certain colors, but are black, dark and light gray. Not as much dark gray here it seems. We do have a few of those pearl dark gray colors and the pearl silver. So a couple things in there. Green, yellow, and reddish brown, some pearl gold. This bag has kind of the mix of a few white, black, more reddish brown, and some lime green in there. Do have quite an amount of purple and magenta bricks, so a few more than maybe some other classic kits that you would see. But that is one of the main color themes in this set. Some of the suggested models use these colors quite a bit. And then our blue shades, so a regular blue, and the other main blue color in this set is the aqua. Light aqua, I think, is the official color. So several regular brick sizes. In fact, that 2x4 brick in light aqua is something that I don't think it's necessarily rare anymore, but hasn't been in a lot of sets. And you might have seen already there is the opalescent transparent color. There's a 2x2 brick right there, in that opalescent color. And thankfully, there is the 2x4 opalescent as well. So definitely a brick that I've had my eye out for. Pretty new color combination for that particular part. And then the other one in here that I definitely wanted to mention is the masonry 1x2 brick in white. You have a decent quantity of those in this set. It's also a pretty recent part in terms of that particular element with the brick texture. Didn't have that in white until pretty recently. A couple other bags here. You do have the brick separator, of course, and then a few more blues, greens, and purples, with an idea book packaged in a cardboard sleeve. Probably won't be opening that right now. I do not intend to build any models. I just want to get these parts bag opened up and maybe look at a few more up close. But like I mentioned, that opalescent color there and the masonry 1x2s, very good parts to get here. Of course, I have to look at the whole thing because that is the way to get the nice price per piece rate. You know, don't necessarily go buy the set for 2 parts, but look at what it can do when you're adding parts to a collection, which is one of the main ways that I increase the amount of parts that I have available for building mocks. And also, something nice with these sets is you can often get newer parts that haven't been out very long, sometimes even in rare colors. So that's something else I'd like to try to highlight for this review. Most of what I have to say about specific parts in this set is contained in this first group of parts, in the lighter colors. And I did have to open multiple bags. Most of the white parts are together in one bag, but I think they do have a few things bagged separately depending on some of the example models if you do want to build those out of the box. So that's nice in terms of building what you see on the cover, but for sorting by color or part type, you're going to have to do a little bit more sorting actually beforehand. So again, the 1x2 masonry here in particular, 32 of these in the set. Great part for detail. This is something that I try to use not just in a slab of only this part, but kind of working in as an alternate kind of texture detail. A good example of this would be Mediterranean Market Street, where I actually use a different color of this brick to help it stand out from the background, which is just a solid brick in a different color. And that can do a lot for the detail in a model, I think, if you do it right. And if you do want to just use a larger amount of these and create a solid brick wall texture, it takes more pieces, but it also can look really good. So 32 of those, and then the 1x2 with the ridges. So this is something that I like to refer to as the palisade brick, just based on the kind of vertical log look that you get with this one. 24 of these in white here. So another one that's really good for detailing and texture and high quantity in this set. I think the star of the show for me is going to be the 2x4, good old 3001 in transparent opalescent. Still not sure on the exact details of the official name for this color. In fact, you can find this effect, because it's more of a shimmer effect inside a transparent color. Now in this plain transparent, there are two different shades of blue, I think. There's a dark and a light. And then we also have green, and I think there's also a reddish or a pinkish version of this effect as well. So the opalescent, you really get just a beautiful kind of shimmer reflection and great color effect. Really happy to see it in the classic 2x4. Not sure if we have the other opalescent effects officially in this brick yet, but it is something that I'll be keeping an eye out for, and I know a lot of other people that do the 2x4 kind of trend for collecting will be looking for this as well. And for this set, you have actually 8 of them, so if you do want to have a couple on to spare or to stock up or possibly to sell back onto the market, there's a decent opportunity for that. Other parts in this color in the set are the 2x2, the 1x1 round, and actually still considered a rare part, I believe right now, is the 1x1 round plate, transparent opalescent. So hasn't been released in very many sets, and in fact here I think we only have 2 of this plate. Yeah, so there's not very many here either, but you do get 4 different parts in this color here. Other parts we have in this category are a few basic bricks, 1x6, 1x4, nothing too spectacular, but they never hurt to get some of those. You do get some plates. You have this offset 2x5 is the footprint, but it does have that jog going up. And one of the larger pieces in the set is the 4x12 plate in white. Some modified bricks, including the 1x4 arch, several of those, and some of these other curved slopes that can be handy. Again, you don't get these in very high quantity, so if you're hoping to do a roof or something with these parts, just stocking based on this set, you're going to have to get a lot of the set to do that. But what my approach that I like to do is a little by little over time, as you're picking up parts and pieces, this is the kind of thing, if you know you're going to want a lot of them, you just get them a couple at a time every time you're looking for what parts to pick up. And after a year or two, you'd be surprised how many you have on hand. Modified, or the studs not on top style brick, mostly you're getting 1x2s with the studs on one side. You get a couple of these brackets that will give you the inverted plate thickness, so those can be handy specific occasions. And then I would say these are going to be more useful to me where you have the 1x2, but it goes up to almost 2. This is actually 1 2/3 of height, and you get this 2x2 footprint. So remember, when you're stacking the regular kind, these actually give you too much of a space in between to build on going that direction, you're going to need something like this, and that gives you the correct spacing between those studs. So you get 2 of those with that style in this set. And then there's several other smaller parts on hand. A little bit of Technic, actually. Technic's not something you see in Classic, I believe, very often, so those are interesting to see here. And then the 1x2, known as the pill plate here as well. Decent amount of those, 1x1, with the little rounded top. There's a good detailing part. Sometimes hard to get those in quantity. Actually, I have found these to be quite abundant on the pick and build walls in Lego stores. So coincidentally, I do have quite a few of these, but depending on where you're located, your local Lego store may not have those, and you may not be able to get those from your local Lego store anyway if you're not using that as a part source. Well, it looks like I'm fresh out of room on the color chart. Something I've been meaning to get around to is actually expanding this with another 32x32 base plate. I do have several more colors that I need to figure out how to add in here, but I will do a quick comparison for this to the regular transparent. Not a great place to get it, maybe right there. Now I'll have to figure out where I want to put that in with the other colors here, but perfect 2x4. We'll find a place to add that in here soon, and maybe next month we'll get that color chart update out. Alright, now I have some blues and a slight correction on the opalescent. There's actually 32 of the 1x1 round opalescent parts. There are a few more that I hadn't spotted in one of these blue bags. So the complete opalescent showing of parts is actually not all in the previous clip. There's a few more here, including some 2x2s and 1x1 round. But yeah, the 1x1 plate round is not quite as scarce as I first mentioned. So those, a few more of those, but mostly here I've got the regular blue and the light aqua. Now the light aqua 2x4 until this year was pretty scarce. So this was first introduced back in 2016. It was in 2 Friends sets, and then we hadn't seen it again until this year, where it has showed up in a couple of classic sets, and then it's also in the Rivendell large Lord of the Rings set. Not sure where that's used in there, but 2023 is the first time we've seen it since 2016, and for a while it was pretty scarce. For the blue, not really a whole lot to mention, mostly standard bricks. These 4x4 round plates, if you're looking for something like that. However, these 2x4 half conical sections are currently exclusive to this set in blue. So this is somewhat newer element, and there are 4 of these included. If you put 2 of them back to back, this is kind of a conical shape, 4x4 base, and it goes up to a 2x2. The slope matches the 2x2 cone that goes to 1x1. So the part has been around for a few years, I believe, and now with this set it has been introduced in blue. You get 4 copies, and I also have the blue jewels in this group as well. Looking now at the black and light gray, there's actually only a single dark bluish gray part in the set, and that is the cutlass. So very low representation of that color. Otherwise we have a decent amount of the black parts and the light bluish gray. I have set a few aside again to look at. The 1x2 with the 4 studs not on top, already mentioned that piece being useful. So 4 more of those here. The unprinted shield, nice to see 4 of those here. And then the macaroni Technic element here in light bluish gray. Grab 4 of those as well. We have several flat silver, is the color that I couldn't remember earlier. So there's a couple fish in here, and then a nice stockpile of different lances and swords. So the one aspect of the set is looking at some of the original medieval style castle figures and building those in the brick form, and that's why we have some of these different lances and swords in this set, I believe. So and then a couple of those grills in flat silver as well. Some of the other parts that stood out to me were the cauldron here, and various Technic connector, the right angle here with the one length axle, and then of course the lamp post here in black. Not a rare part by any means, but something that's nice to get at least one of here. And then looking through Rebrickable, I noticed that the 2x2 corner with the short wall, this is actually a rare part and was only in a few other sets introduced within the last year or two. So I think we have 4 of those here in this classic set. Not a whole lot to say about this round. The magenta and the dark purple here, and you do get a few of these glitter purple parts, so those, you know, I haven't found a lot of use for that. I did just get some of the 1x1 brick with that color, which I think would be cool for a stained glass project if I end up going towards something that needs that. But the cone and the dish, it's more of a embellishing part, I guess. I don't know where I would use it. And then the transparent pink, you do get a few of these wand pieces, a little bit nostalgic there, and a whole bunch of 1x1 round plates for your transparent colors. Otherwise, it's all solid with the dark purple and the magenta. This one is rare, the 1x2 with the vertical clip, not super common. And then I did pull out the frog and the leaf element. So the magenta leaf, I thought that would be more rare, but I guess it has been in several sets. So not exactly an intuitive color for the leaf element, but take a look at some of the other sets that one's been in. It does give you some interesting effects for that color. Alright, getting towards the end here, I have the reddish brown and the pearl gold in this group. Again, not a whole lot that stands out to me here. I do like the 4 1x2x2 windows, those window frames, you know. Whenever you can get a hold of some of those, just stock them up. Keep grabbing them a little bit at a time, and really useful for modulars and yeah, whatever you're doing structurally. If it has windows, that's kind of a part that you want to have a lot of, along with some of the other window sizes that are current right now. For arches, I do like the 1x3 inverted arch, so that one in reddish brown. I don't think I have a lot of those right now. Go ahead and grab some of those here. And then the regular 1x3, a little bit slightly taller arch here in reddish brown as well. The 1x4 is pretty common, but I put it in here with the other arches. For pearl gold, you do get a couple 2x2 plates. A few parts that I did set aside are up here. The pearl gold frying pan. It's an interesting color to get. You get several, or 4 at least. And the 1x2 ingot with the detailing on there. Not as nice as the chrome gold one, of course, but I will take the pearl gold. A couple more frogs, and then I also have the flames up in that corner. And the final batch for this review is the green, lime green, and yellow parts. Once again, very much basic bricks and a few plates for the most part. The lime, I feel like it's definitely quite a few parts here in this color. Personally, I do not build with lime very much, so I have not really been looking out for this color or parts in this color when I go and handpick Lego. So I guess the only thing I will mention is the 2x6 brick in lime is currently rare. It's only in one other set out this year, so that is kind of a newer part. But you know, for the most part, I would probably use these bricks as filler if it's going to be hidden. I don't have a lot of projects in mind that will use this as a main color or even as an accent color, really. I just do not build with lime very much. But you do get a decent amount in the set. For green, the only pieces that really caught my eye here are the arches, or the curved slopes, I suppose. These aren't, you know, uncommon by any means. Of course, you get a couple of these leaf elements that with the 3 leaves there, the frogs, and then this hinge piece with the bar and the rounded side of that plate. That's a really handy part just to have on hand when you're working with angles and you need to position certain things. It just gives you a lot more of a range when you're working with clips and bars, and it's a handy part. So to get that in green, maybe open some doors for new color schemes. I don't think I have any in green as of now. Other than that, bricks, plates. The largest piece in the set is an 8x16 regular green plate. It looks kind of bright here in the lighting, but this is your standard green color. And you do have a few other larger plates up here. So 4x8, I think there's 4 of those, and then 2x, I think that's going to be 12. Yeah, 2x12 plates, 2 of those. Yellow, really basic here. You got your 2x4 brick, a couple of wedge plates, and 1x2 with the studs. And then you also do get this flower. This is actually the second variation of the flower. The original one had a hole going through it. So this is kind of a newer version of that part. Everything else is the same, I believe. But you will actually find I think right now there's only 4 colors that have the solid stud. Everything else is going to be older with that hollow stud. And then a companion part here with the 4 leaves. This one actually is still the same in all respects to the original part. Dates back to the 90s, I believe. So you do have 4 of those in bright green, and those are the only parts in bright green in the set. So I'm just going to end it there. I don't have a whole lot more to say about the set as a whole. Just going through color by color. I will say at the end of it here, and looking back on my review of 11011, I think that original set that I reviewed earlier is still coming out on top for me, just in terms of the color selection and the part selection I had. There was actually quite a few parts I highlighted at the end of that video that I was pretty happy to get. I could do the same thing here. I've kind of been mentioning it as I go, but I think at the end of the day there's just not as much appeal in this set to me, except of course for the price, like I already mentioned. So a really decent set to stock a lot of your basic bricks in a variety of colors, and even a few of those newer parts, like I mentioned with that blue conical section, currently exclusive here, and some of those opalescent basic brick shapes. Really nice place to get some of those if you have not been able to before. And of course, if you're just looking for those kind of parts, I think this will be a very popular set to have parted out on BrickLink. So if you don't feel like you need to get 1800 parts, you just want some of those opalescent ones, you'll probably be able to find decent prices for those on BrickLink as this set works its way into the market. Keep an eye out for that if you are interested. That's all I got today, guys. Thanks for watching Brick System Brothers. We'll see you next time.